Hello, welcome back. Been a little while. We're doing another tutorial. I'm going to go over how we take a post that you've already designed and then turn it into the French version of the post. So we'll try to go through this as I normally would. Shouldn't take us super long. So if you're wondering, if you have questions, this is the video for you. So a little bit about the stream overlay. We've got the keys and mouse input. So if I type stuff or if I click on things, you can see it on the overlay. So you should be able to follow along there and rewind if you need to go over something. So from the Trello, I saw that I had a French post assigned to me, and I needed to go in and adjust the designs that we're doing. So all the information is in here. There's a couple of resources, like the category and the month and days, just in case you need it. The original text is on the left and the French text is on the right. The bolded things are the things that you need to highlight, and we'll make that clear in all of the French posts so that you don't have to speak French to understand what should be highlighted and what shouldn't be. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to be copying and pasting all of this text over into your English document. It shouldn't take too long, but we will go through some shortcuts to make it a little bit quicker. So I'm going to move this over to the side, so you won't be able to see it, but I will be able to see it at the same time. And we'll jump back to our design. So this right here is the French version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Control-Shift-S to save as a new file. And we will just put FR in front of this right here. FR dash, however you name the post usually. So we'll save that, click OK. And now you can see up here, we are editing the French version. So we're not touching the English one. That is staying the same as it was. We're creating a new copy of our Illustrator file so that we can work on it and we can adjust it and change whatever we want. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to change all of these little pieces on the corners. So I'm going to zoom in with Alt and scroll. And our French name is Sciences pour tout. So we'll type that in there if I can type. Sciences plural. Our month is now February. So février. Here we go. Let me see if I can copy that over. Copy it from the doc, paste it in here. Février 2022. Cool. Literacy toolkit. We have that in the doc, and that is Palette de Culture Scientifique. Please don't judge me on my pronunciation throughout this. It will be brutal. Okay, and then we'll just start copying things over. All of the accents should follow along with what you're doing when you're pasting it over. So you'll see that it's going to paste in like this. That's annoying since it's not in a text box. So we will go over to our character panel, click the three dots, click the all caps button, and then we will start splitting this up line by line just to make sure that it all fits. It's probably going to be resized a lot because it is a very long title and the titles are usually longer in French. So let's go with this and we'll try to squish it down here like that. That works. And then we know that we need this part in a different color. So we'll highlight that color. Sorry, that was blocked off. We'll highlight this part. Use our eyedropper tool right over here where I'm looking. And we will eyedropper our lighter color here. So now we can go out of this group view and we can see that. So we have the title done first and we will do the subtitle. Double click to jump into our group. Double click to edit the text. And we'll do the same thing. So we're going to paste it over. It's going to be lowercase. Go to character, all caps. And then we will split this up line by line. We know this part is the base rate fallacy. So we'll highlight that. We'll move these two things together, maybe resize it so that it's a little bit different in size. We can actually tell what is the title and what isn't the title. And then we'll exit out of it. And we can use our align window right over here to vertical align center. And that does that for us. What we're looking here is a little bit of balance. So since these lines are a bit heavier on the design, I might move it up slightly so you can see the dot still. It feels a bit balanced with the text higher up and the graphical elements down here. And that works. So that's one slide done. We know all the accents are good, and just make sure they're not overlapping here. So you might need to adjust your line spacing over here. You can just hold shift and click up to do it by 10 instead of doing it one by one. Great. I'm going to go and adjust all of these. So we're going to write in séance pour two. I honestly don't think that I changed the pour part on the other one. So I'm going to go back and do that. The 2 is bold. Yeah, there it is. And then instead of having to go through and change every single one of these, I'm just going to go and delete all these off every page. Oh, that one looks like it's on a different layer and it's locked. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay, now what we can do is we can take our one thing here, we can copy it, Control C, and then we can click on the next one, and we can either do Control Shift V to paste it in place. Once you click on the artboard, you can do that for every single one, or if we Control Z and undo that, we can take it and do Control Alt Shift V. All at the same time, and that will paste it onto every single artboard in the same spot, so you don't need to worry about it. What you will see is that it's going to pop up here. We don't really want that. We'll delete that part. We'll scroll all the way back, and it also overlaps here, so we'll delete that too. And now, saved a bunch of time. Perfect. From here, it's going to be a lot of text changes. You're going to be copying over the text from your French document, and you will have to go through and bold everything and readjust your text sizes. So you'll be going through and doing that. Might take a little bit of time, but it'll be a good practice for a lot of your spacing and your text layouts. Fully vaccinated here. We'll zoom in so you can see that a bit better. That doesn't look as good, so maybe we'll move it over here so that it's centered between these two parts. Unvaccinated, non-vacciné. Great, that looks fine still. I'm just gonna copy these, delete these, paste them again. You can't see that, so we're gonna take both of these, hold shift and click them together. And that'll select both of them, and press I for your eyedropper tool, or grab it on the side here. And I'm gonna grab this dark color here. Easy peasy. Make sure that's centered. Awesome. These parts down here, total COVID-19 hospitalizations. It's a long title. We'll adjust this background piece. This background piece for me is on the background layer, and I lock it so that I don't accidentally move the background elements during these things. So we'll just adjust that here. We'll do the same thing with the text for the next title. Control A to select all once you're in your text box. Control V to paste. That doesn't look good. Let's go. Split it there. And we'll grab this again from the other layer. Great, there we go. We can lock the background layer. Okay, that's one slide. It looks like everything is there. All the accents look good to me. And now, here we go. Oops. Double click this. Control V to paste. And see, this plus button means that your text is beyond your text box constraints. So when you drag it down, ooh, that's a lot longer. That's not going to look good. You don't want to put that out anywhere. So let's try and lift it up here. This doesn't look right. It's too close to the top and bottom. So what I would do is I would move this up and then move this up too. It should have your automatic spacing there, and we can adjust the background elements for that. This should be here. And it'll replace this text. Great. This doesn't really line up. I want to shift this over a little bit so that it's more in line right here. Perfect. Oh, I forgot to change the at. Let's do that right now too. Same thing as before. Change the at, copy it. You can delete these off every page. I'm just scrolling with my side wheel on my mouse, which not everyone has. But you can also hold space so you bring up your little hand grabber tool and click, and you can drag it around. You can move around faster that way instead of grabbing these little things at the bottom. Okay, now that we're here, copy it, Control Shift Alt V, paste on every link, every page. It'll paste over top of this one. It'll paste on this one. And it'll paste at the very end too. So let's go and get rid of that. Perfect. Okay. Making quick progress. Okay. Copy this. We'll have to change those bolded parts as well. Again, text box is over, so let's shift that up. We can move these parts here. If I'm trying to select this back here, you can highlight it and then shift and click to get to unselect something that's in your group selected. So we're trying to say when we ignore the base of the hospitalization. So we will highlight this as well, cover half of the text. Great. Copy this. This is where our little thing goes. Thank you, Maheshwar, for putting that in. Super easy for me to see where it's supposed to go. Oops. Highlight both those together. Hold Shift so that you can slide it in a line. It doesn't change its horizontal or vertical placement. You can hold Shift and it'll go that way. Great. Next slide. And one thing that you'll notice is the punctuation will usually have a space. That is French notation that the French team asked us to include. So move this here. Ooh, lots of highlighted. The size of the groups matters. So we'll highlight this whole thing. Alt and click and drag. That'll duplicate it. Proportion of cases. Oh, that's right there. Highlight, hold Shift and click to unselect. That proportion to cast. And this. Great. And now we'll adjust this part down here. Double click to enter the group. Double click again to enter the smaller group that I did. And paste it in there. Delete these sections. Let me zoom in. A couple of spaces. It's not enough spaces. There we go. Move that there. Double click anywhere else to get out of it, or use the arrows. And you can shift this wherever you want it to be. And then you get out there. Okay. Oh, I forgot to bold these parts to properties. bold. Uh-oh, this is going to shift it onto another line. Ugh. My bad. And then we'll bold all of that. I'm just scrolling over the text and it changes it for you. Actually, we can delete that since it's only la. And we'll do the same thing here. Change these to bold. And this to bold. Move these over. Zoom in. Sorry. Much easier than actually designing it from scratch, I must say. Okay. Moving on. So, even though the count of COVID-19, hospitalizations, great, le nombre, whoops. Oh my goodness. Please, I just want this box. Thank you. Drag that out there. And then we will put this together. Vaccine et hospitalité. We don't want this to be this color, so we will just select it, highlight it, and use the eyedropper tool to make it white. Use the selection tool again. And we'll continue copying things over. So, vaccinated, unvaccinated, and hospitalized. Eyedropper tool. Easy peasy. That looks good. Whew, this is a big slide. Okay. The rate. So we're highlighting about 80% in the rate of hospitalizations. Okay. So this one, it infringes, it gets a little bit close down here. Probably not what we want, so we're going to move that up a bit. Give the entire thing a little bit more room to breathe. And we'll have to adjust our bolding here. And our bolding here. We'll press escape to deselect that, to get out of the text editing, highlight both of them. We can grab just this one part and move it. Nope. Just this one part. Ambulance. Uh-oh. Not sure if you heard that. It's kind of loud. Okay. Oh, I've selected something else in the background as well. You can see the blue handles there, so I'm going to shift and unselect it. And it should give us back just this one part. There we go. Now that I'm looking, what is this? It doesn't reach the artboard. My clipping mask that I made here. So I can just double click my clipping mask, click the bounds of it, find my little anchor, and bring it to the side there. That'll look better. Okay. Now we adjust this part. We can just take this. So one thing we notice here, we don't have a translation for this in the document. Might have been missed. So we will leave this for now and grab it later. But that's good to keep an eye out, and you can just contact your designer your translator that did this post, and just ask them for that quick translation. Okay. Other than those parts, looks good. Moving on. We'll grab this. looking at small percentage and much larger percentage. Again, red little box. Let's grab this down here. Period here. Move that to like the center. You can use the align panel. Align to the middle. I'll grab these. Even though it's a bigger number. A small percentage. Small percentage. Pull that. Pull that too. But I want this small percentage versus large percentage. Gotta bold that, so I need to make this a bit larger there. Highlight this, make it bold. I was close with my estimation of that underline. It's unfortunate. My other bound is too large here. Make sure that's aligned with the edge of the artboard. Cool. That works. Moving on. We want to highlight rates and the size of the groups. Make that bigger. Center it again. Okay. Oh, this is grouped. Let's ungroup that. Unselect that, holding Shift. What are we saying? Yes. Here we go. The differences in populations. Oh, I keep doing the underline before bolding it. Oh no. I don't want that little widow, we call it. So I can make this text box a little bit larger. Center it again. And now adjust my highlighted things again. Start with this one down here. Populations. Differences in the sizes of the populations. It's a good way to learn French. You can piece it together. Sure. Nice. Okay. So this part, at the very end, it's a lot to change every single one of these pieces. So what you can do is you can take a look at your layers, lock your background layer that you're working on to do all these elements. See how I can't click and move any of these, not those ones, any of these guys because they're on my background layer. When I unlock it, I can select them, I can move them, they look a different color, and the background's also that color. So we'll lock it. I'm going to highlight all of these things here. We'll move Megan's and my stuff out of the way because we can keep those. We'll shift those over. And I'm just going to highlight all this stuff. See what I highlight. I'm just doing these bubbles. We'll delete that. Then with the slide that we made as a template, what we can do is we can highlight the whole thing. You're not going to highlight the background color because that's on a locked background layer. Same with these text things. See how it doesn't get highlighted. Copy it using Control-C. We can go back onto our other one. Select the artboard that you're working on using your mouse and Control-Shift-V, and that'll paste it in place. You'll just have to change your theme here. So you just use the eyedropper tool with eye. Boop, boop, boop. Grab that. You'll make this white, and the white that we use is just off-white, F4, F4, F4. It's kind of sad that I know that. And then you want to replace the text here. copy from your thing. Awesome. Grab these as well. Shift, select them all. Oh, those are grouped, it seems. So we'll right click, ungroup. Shift, select those together. We can pull one of the colors from our palette if we scroll over. Let's say we want the light one here. Now I can scroll back over. We can get rid of these. Oh no. Get rid of these here. We can put Megan and I back in. So écrit means write, written. This is design and translated. So we'll drag another circle over here, center it with that text there. That looks fine. Yep. We'll grab another box. See, when I shrank these down, it looks a bit more rounded. Before it was more rectangular. So what happens there is when we use the rounded corners tool on a shape, these little circular dot things here, they don't stay consistent with size. So if I hold shift and I make this bigger or smaller, the rounding of the corners stays absolute. It doesn't scale relative to your shape. So that's why it becomes circular here. It becomes more like a smaller comparison. So we can grab these handles, a circular handle, and we can adjust that just by sliding it out towards the corner. This is fully sharp corners. This is fully rounded corners. We want to be somewhere right in the middle there. And it should adjust all of them if you're using your selection tool. If you use your direct selection tool with with A, you can click one of them and adjust just that one to make some funky shapes there. But that's an aside. Anyway, let's go back. We'll edit this one too. Looking good. We'll shift select both of those together, hold Alt to drag it over, but I want it to be right along the same path as these ones. I'm going to hold Shift, move it over here, using my smart guides to center that with the circle there. And Maheshwar is the one that designed this. So we can grab his Instagram account, which is conveniently right here. Perfect. But you might have to ask your translator. I literally am looking at this and not actually ingesting it into my brain of what it says. So this will have to adjust the size. We want it to have enough breathing room on the sides here. So we're going to grab this here. We can drag each side one at a time to make it bigger, or we can hold Alt and that'll adjust the scale of it relative to the center anchor point here. So you can do that with edges here. If you hold Alt, it'll adjust based on the center. And then if we need to put in a photo, I'm going to show you how to do a circle crop photo because not everyone has one. So from our drive, we can download the photos of our folks, and then we go to File, Place, or Control-Shift-P. Put them somewhere nice. I have them in my Assets folder if it wants to open. Then we go to Team Headshots. We scroll down, see everyone here. There they are. And now we're going to drag and put it in there. Okay, so it's a little bit too big. We're going to adjust it, grabbing our anchors, holding Shift, and yeah, that looks about right. We're about the same size there. Okay, sounds good. So let's select this, go to Properties, see that it's 279.65555 pixels wide and high. It's a perfect circle. So we can go to our Shape tool up here. We can either hold down, left click, or we can right click, and we can select Ellipse tool, or use L to bring up the Ellipse tool. When we do that, we can just click, and we can put down 279.6555 and put it here. If we want it to be linked, we can select this and link the two together, but we won't do that for this one. and we'll press OK. That'll create another circle for us. You're probably thinking, okay, what do I do with this circle now? So we're going to make a clipping mask between this circle and this photo. What a clipping mask does is it takes a path in front of an object and it clips off whatever is outside of that. So it'll clip off these parts, these edges. However, we want the image to fill the entire circle. So let's scale this up. I'm holding Alt and Shift together right now as I scale so that it creates a perfect circle that's filled. Now we have our image behind, the path that we want our image to look like in front. We'll highlight both of them together, right click, make clipping mask, and there we go. Now we have an image that's the same size as me and Megan. And we will hold Shift once it's on top, put it over here. We're going to grab our Instagram handle, hold select to shift it together, and I'm going to use Control Shift or close square bracket, and that'll bring it right to the front. Control Shift open bracket sends it all the way to the back of the layer, and so you can see how you can do that easily there. So got all of our things here. Looks pretty good to me. Let's just give a quick once over. We need to check in here. That looks fine. Maybe we can highlight this and move it up a little bit so that it balances out the whole image a bit better. Other than that, we're making really clean rectangles here. We've got a clear hierarchy. You know, reading from left to right. Awesome. Looks good. This maybe seems a bit high. It's fine. Okay. I think that looks good. So once it's done, we will go to File, Export, Export for Screens. Select all the ones that we have here. We'll name it with our prefix. So FR, let's call it, I don't know how to say it in French, COVID-19 hospitalizations. And then we will choose where we're exporting it to. So that's going to be in the same folder here. And we can click Open Location after export if we want it to be in that one location or we want to open that file folder. We can also create a subfolder based on the format. So since we're exporting it as PNGs, it'll create a folder that is called PNG. There we go. And all of our things are here. You'll post that. You can click and drag it right into Slack. Cool. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Bye.